taken away. Fiddlesticks removed from Deficio. Shen also banned out. Zed taken away. Didn't want to see that ninja from Bjergsen. Let's see what NiP's last ban is. We're pretty sure we know what EG's first pick will be, but we'll see. Kassadin has been taken away, so they didn't want Froggen running that one.
Thresh or Elise are both open. If they want to go Zac, that's for Wicked. They've locked that one in. And I wonder if they've maybe left Thresh, because Deficio does tend towards the Nami. So it's kind of saying, well, if they lock in the Nami or the dual lane for NiP, we can basically safely secure our support pick.
Bam, straight away. Jarvan and Vayne. Vayne mechanics all over again. Freeze this time while we're running it. Of course, Freeze's Draven was impacted quite heavily in the last patch, and he's had to be looking for a new AD carry. Vayne is one that pretty much all of American career have settled on right now.
Yeah, it's also quite interesting because in EU, we tend to have picked up Vayne a little more on average than NA. And NA sort of tended towards Twitch for a little while. That was sort of their pick or their flavor of the month. Now, I want to talk about Aatrox for a quick second because Wicked has been spamming Aatrox. So if that gets locked in, it's going to be a Zac jungle, and it's going to be Wicked playing Aatrox in the top lane. We had a brief chat. He said he played about 70 or 80 games of Aatrox in this last week.
This is why we were quite surprised that it wasn't banned out. He told us just before we came on air, and we were like, okay, you really want to play that champion, don't you? So we'll see how that works out. Sona coming out from Krepo. I don't remember the last time I saw Krepo playing Sona.
It is a very, very long time, but I really like the pickup. And the reason it's good, you've got multiple knockups from Zac, from Aatrox, that'll throw people into the air. If you can knock up 2 or 3 targets and then crescendo them, it's just guaranteed complete lockdown. So immediately from EG,
bounce on them with Aatrox as well.
That's it. You've already got all of this knockdown, this CC, this utility that's really going to work out well for them.
And there's an annoying champion straight away, though. Yorick being locked in. That's going to be the top lane. So Yorick versus an Aatrox. God knows how that one's going to work out, but Thresh has been picked up by Deficio. So
the Yorick on the other side, it is to do with the hyper carry of Vayne. You just get the Omen of Death down and it works well. I also want to touch on the fact that Jarvan's Cataclysm is basically going to be negated by everyone except Sona. They all have ways to get in and out of that pit. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Maluna to get knockups with his EQ combo than his impact of his Cataclysm in these fights. And I definitely think that at the moment, I'm preferring Evil Genius's roster.
Well, it's good to see we do the research. And everybody at home, there is the Ahri pick. We said it was going to be a contested pick between the 2 AP mid laners, or the hyper mid laners, I guess you could call them in this game, because Ahri has been picked for Froggen.
So my thinking, if I were a Bjergsen right now, would be maybe pick something that's also got some hyper carry damage. If you wanted to go for a Rise, the Omen of Death would have been very good in that situation. Instead, they've gone for a very CLG NA-esque composition. This is protect the freeze, as it were, because you're just going to command attack, command protect, put Omen of Death down. The damage is almost all going to come from Vayne after the burst is done from Orianna, because the rest of it's basically utility.
So everybody else is trying to copy career. NOP is saying, we're going to copy CLG.
Pretty much.
Why not?
Pretty much.
Why not?
I think the early game is so important for NiP here right now, because if they fall behind, there are so many damage threats from EG. Aatrox, Zac, Ahri, Caitlyn can clean up fights. On the other side, it's a lot more difficult for a Jarvan, a Yorick, and Orianna without ability power to clean up fights.
Well, you know, after Doublelift called all of Europe trash, maybe NOP are thinking, this guy speaks with some serious authority. We should copy what they do.
I'm not going to put words in their mouths, but I tell you what, you can go on the record for that one. But it's a composition that we're seeing from EG that is unique. This is new for us. We haven't seen them running Aatrox in the past. It's really been Darian that's been trying to make it work in the top lane. And I'm going to, call apart because it's mixed results. He has been very good, and he has been not so very good on that Aatrox. So we'll have to see how good Wicked's practice has been with these 70-odd games. He reckoned he's got a 65% win ratio. 65% in solo queue is pretty decent at, Challenger Diamond 1 level.
Yeah, when you can't control the rest of your teammates. We'll see how it works out for them. I always love to see which summoner icons these guys choose. They don't always pick their own team, do they?
No, not at the minute. Deficio is actually rocking the Velocity Esports while Bjergsen's going TSM. We're talking about the backbone of NiP, and the backbone's not rocking the NiP logos.
The backbone's not rocking
letting the side down. All the new kids have got the badges on the shirts.
Sorry, Heaton. They have the shirts on, don't worry. You can see them on your screens there. And there is Evil Genius. These guys finished 3rd place in the World Finals at Season 2. Can Can they make it to the playoffs? That is the question, let alone the World Finals. At the moment, the question is being asked, and we'll see how they respond. There's Evil Geniuses. They are going to be the blue team on your screens, and Ninjas in Pyjamas will be starting out as the red.
My question is, if Evil Geniuses want to put themselves in a lane swap position right now, I think Aatrox against Yorick will be a pretty even matchup. They both have very good sustain in lane, and Wicked may be able to out-sustain Mimer's Yorick because he's based on mana in these very early levels. Wicked simply needs to auto-attack with that Bloodthirst, Blood Price on his W. So I think they would want a 1v1, but we'll have to see if they agree or if they're just going to deal with the 1v2 situation.
The Geniuses are setting up for a potential late invade here. They're going to a good position to try and get some wards down over at that red. We do see Freeze there. They jump straight on him. Wow, he had to tumble away so quick from that one. Very nearly caught out. Quick reactions.
Yeah, very good reactions there from Freeze. I think even if the knockup had landed, it may not have been the end of the world. He still had barrier and flash, and there was nobody else following it up. But nonetheless, early ward down, some vision control here for EG. And remember that the camp spawned at 2:05, so any of these delayed invades could be a little bit more impactful.
So they did manage to get that ward in. I tell a lie, is there a ward in the bush?
It is on the right-hand side.
It is on the right-hand side. I can't quite see it. There it is.
Freeze stood right on top of it.
So they do know.
I think he's busy dancing.
Was placed there. He is having some sweet, sweet fun with that ward bucket at the moment, though. Well, we saw already what he's leveled up. We'll see how that works out for him. And are we going to see lane switches? Yes, we are, but it's actually going to be a 2v2 in the top lane. And that means that Wicked will be heading down to that bottom very late, getting to lanes as well.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this matches up. I am happy to see the 1v1 matchup. I think the Wicked's going to be confident and comfortable with it. It's what he's been doing in solo queue. But we do see those Deficio and Freeze, they basically want to harass Evil Geniuses, thought about going to annoy Snoopy, and decided against it at the end of the day.
But he did force Crepo to put a ward down, so that was a ward effectively used, wasted, I don't know what, but it did force him away from that one. Maluno picks up the red buff, he starts off there, and he's going to head down towards that blue buff of his own. Ping goes on them from Evil Geniuses, so they know exactly where they are. Crepo thought about picking up the CS. He could have picked up that one CS there. It got wasted.
So we'll see how this early game goes, because both teams have got very good advantages. Crepo's playing quite aggressive as he eats a flay from Deficio, and I think the sustain of EG will play it in longer fights.
Wow, Ignite's already been used in the bottom lane. Mima and Wicked putting the Ignites down, wanting to get aggressive on each other. And it looks like Wicked actually came out worse off in that trade. There's a lot of minions as well for Mima. So Mima starting off very well. As you mentioned, he's going to be spamming out that mana. We do see the hook landing on towards Crepo, but Condemn had already been used on Yellow Pete.
Yeah, if Freeze had held on to that one, they could have pinned Crepo to the wall, but instead he blew it a little earlier, throwing Yellow Pete away to safety. Let's take a look at the bottom lane, because I want to see how Wicked handles the focus from Mima, because Mima's just going to be throwing those ghouls out as long as he has mana to sustain. He's at 50% right now. Once that gets lower, that's Wicked's opportunity to go in, last hit, get his health back.
And Snoopy was looking to come down and try and help out there. He's actually in the Dragon Pit right now, knows that there is a ward just there, which is why he hasn't going to cross. Is he going to sneak up towards the blue or maybe go for invade? No, he's sneaking around, but he's actually unseen right now with that double buff. Let's see whether he slingshots himself in towards Bjergsen. Meanwhile, Maluna doing exactly the same in the top there. The exhaust get used on towards Freeze. Crepo well deep out of position here. He could get knocked up, forces the flash, but he's going to get taken down by the Dragon Strike. And now Pete's in trouble. He has the 90 caliber net away, but he is going to get to safety, but First Blood comes down.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why Evil Geniuses were playing that aggressive that early. Simply put, Crepo was too far overextended, and he got himself caught by that hook. So good play by NiP, and Maluna being at exactly the right spot at exactly the right time.
Yeah, very good work by the jungler, and we've seen some fantastic Jarvans of late, certainly in Korea.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about that during the OGN quarterfinals, and I think it was Bengi who was absolutely blowing our minds with his performance. What I do want to touch on is that Maluna was up in that top lane around about 4 minutes. In the previous game, Alternate secured First Blood on a 3v1 tower dive at about 4 minutes 20, 4 minutes 30. So I want to keep my eyes on that as the games progress, because that might be the new 3-minute 3-man tower dive. It may now be the 4-minute 3-man tower dive.
It's moved it on a minute. Every little minute counts. Wicked, meanwhile, he's having a fun time of it down against Mima here. He has actually stepped ahead in terms of CS, despite the pressure he had early on. We are seeing Snoopy also looking to sneak around. Talking about that 4-minute, 5-minute tower dive, he's going to walk straight into a bush, so get spotted by the ward.
So we do see that Mime is already starting to back off. He has his flash available, and Yorick is actually pretty frustrating to try and gank. He does have an on-hit slow, from that ghoul that he's just thrown down. If he manages to land his Q, he gets a movement speed increase as well. So on condition that there's some minions around to smack in the head with that shovel, he can get away safely. He's doing relatively well in this lane so far.
Hopefully we can get a look at Wiki, because we don't see, I'm sure, obviously a lot of Aatrox being played lately. See how he's leveling up at the moment.
He's at the moment still maxing his E ability, which is the Blades of Torment, the on-hit slow. Yep. And it's what you do tend to see from Aatrox in 1v2 situations. So he's basically just saying, I can't deal with all the ghouls of Yorick, and he's keeping himself further back and playing it safer.
Playing it safe at the moment in the top lane is certainly going to be Deficio and Freeze, or Defrizio as he uses the lantern to pull in there. Crepo's going to get caught again. Gets the knock-up straight away. Crepo's a dead man. That's going to get finished off. Can they get the second? No. Forces the flash from Yellow Pete. Another
brilliant gank there from Maluno. They chained that dark passage into the Flay perfectly. And Deficio 0-0-2. He set up both of NiP's kills so far.
Very good setup there. And again, it was poor Crepo getting spotted out there. The lantern being thrown out for vision. Yellow Pete actually dodging out the hook. And Deficio playing very aggressive on Thresh now, and seems to be working very well for him.
Yeah, and remember that Vayne's early game is a little slow. Snoopy's charged up the sting shot. They're thinking about picking the fight. They've caught Deficio.
They're going to go on towards Deficio. Will it be enough? He tries to put the trap down. Piltover comes across, but he hasn't really got the damage. And instead, he has to put some damage back down onto Freeze. Freeze use that condemn, I believe, to keep Snoopy at bay.
It was a very good condemn, because if Snoopy had got a little bit more of those stretching strikes or unstable matters off, there may have been enough damage to kill Deficio. Maluno has once again smelled blood in the water. There's no flash on Yellow Pete. So if a good knockup comes into play, this could be the third kill of the game. But remember, Deficio is very low.
And EG being baited into this one. They think they've got the pride of position. We do see Froggen actually making his move up there, but he's already going to see Maluno coming in. He's snuck himself round towards there. But we also have the Bjergsen making his way up towards the top. Ward's being spotted out. Maluno has to give himself visual preference to say, hey guys, I'm here. Just get away from our turret.
Yeah, so managed to back away. Both of our mid laners are now level 6. Froggen does manage to land a good charm on Deficio. That Orb of Deception, not quite as powerful as it needs to be with just those double orange rings.
Froggen for so long had pride of place in Danish hearts as that main mid laner, but Bjergsen definitely stole a lot of fans away, I feel, over the last 2 splits. He's played fantastic performances in that mid lane. The young 17-year-old who only joined us in week 3 of the spring LCS, you sometimes forget just how young these players are.
Yeah, and he's playing so well. Right now, we do see Crepo, Yellow Pete, and Snoopy stacked up in the top lane. Snoopy's trying to get one more back. He needs to try and put Freeze a little bit more on the back foot, and more importantly, try and make Deficio think twice about going in for every single death sentence. And I think if he does manage to put a little bit of pressure and aggression in this top lane, NiP may play a little more passive.
Well, Snoopy doesn't really need to do a great deal in the middle, so there's no reason he shouldn't just focus on the top lane. The bottom lane is actually being won out by Wicked. You can see in terms of the CFs, he's actually starting to step a lead. He's going to go back and buy at the moment. There is Snoopy going back in once again. Gets condemned again, but instantly they catch on towards Deficio. This time they may well get themselves a kill. There's the Piltover. It's Pete that picks up the kill.
And very well played by Crepo to get the slow onto Deficio. He actually flashed down for that power chord E, the Song of Celerity, got the movement speed debuff, and it just allowed Yellow Pete to land that Piltover Peacemaker perfectly. So the very first kill on the board for Evil Geniuses, and it does go to the AD carry.
We talked about these guys in the featured matchup. They are bang on even right now in terms of CS. There's the Shockwave. He's not going to put enough down. Froggen quite happy to stand there. Took a good chunk of his hit points off, though, and he's going to go off and get himself the blue buff.
Yeah, that's basically Bjergsen just saying, just back off, be aware of this. I've got the cooldown reduction from blue, so I'm going to get my ulti up a little bit more quickly, and he just wants to try and take a little bit of control in that lane. It's bang on even. There's one creep separating the 2 Danes.
Tear of the Goddess picked up by Mime. It's going to take him a while to complete it, but it's definitely going to be a long, drawn-out fight here between these 2 teams. I think we're on for a long slog here, but it's going to be a close battle. Both these teams know what is at stake.
So not only are we going to see 2 teams sort of farming this one up, because you've got straight matchups of 1v1 and 2v2, neither opponent's tower has really been hit very much, if at all. We do see that NiP have got very good timing. They managed to get in there, sneak away the red buff, and that's the first real invade we've seen from either team at this stage. We do see Shockwave is not available for Bjergsen, so kill potential on Froggen is lower. Yeah,
he didn't get in the Wraith, though. He's just what he's trying to do, trying to upset Froggen, try and make sure he can get across that major Wraith. Meanwhile, Snoopy's just thinking, well, great, they've just taken away my entire bottom jungle. All they've got is the golems to go to, which means he will make his presence known. He's going to have to start push it maybe a little bit more into the lanes. Maluno, though, he's been standing up nicely for kills so far. Got himself a first blood as well as an assist. Wicked very aggressive here. May get caught out going too deep.
Bloodwell is active and he's got Dark Flight and Flash. So if Maluno doesn't get a good knock-up, Wicked may be able to get away. He's got slowdown. Here comes Maluno.
Oh, he tries to use the Dark Flight, but he got caught out. That's the Flash. It's not going to be enough. Kill will go down. There's the Bloodwell, but it's simply not going to buy him enough time. We do see Snoopy coming in, but he can't buy the time for him required. And that was a really good interrupt by Maluno. Slid through the moment he went for that jump.
What Wicked should have done is opened with Flash, followed with Dark Flight.
Yeah.
Flash would not have been interrupted by that knock-up. It would have got him away instantly. Unfortunately, that little bit of cast time, you've seen he was halfway in the air and got knocked further up in the air. Another kill for NiP and another kill on the board for Maluno. It's the power of Jarvan in these early games. His knock-up is a little more effective than that of Zach, who really needs his ulti to be as effective.
Fantastic job by the jungler of Ninjas in Pyjamas so far. We do see a needlessly large drop being picked up by Frog, and meanwhile Athene's and Holy Grail has been completed by Bjergsen. So look for those two mid laners to maybe begin roaming, or more importantly, start looking to kill each other.
Yeah, especially once they've got more of the burst potential. It just comes down to who gets caught. You know, if Bjergsen manages to land a good shockwave on Froggen, he does have a bit more ability power to maybe burst him down. And Froggen, it's all about that charm. We do see Froggen a little bit overextended. If the ball comes out, he'll just Spirit Wash away. So Bjergsen, realizing that, decides not to throw the ball out.
Yeah, they're trying to collapse in towards him before he got back. Instead, he will throw the ball towards him. Froggen sidesteps it. A little bit of mechanics being used there. Wipes out the minion wave, and Froggen now heading actually down south. Just trying to keep Bjergsen guessing, keeping Bjergsen actually in the lane and forcing him to have to farm out here. Hasn't got any boots up the moment, which is why Froggen has that mobility advantage over Bjergsen so far.
Yeah, and Bjergsen is maxing his W, the command dissonance, so he's really going for that wave clear and that sort of CC slow in the lane. It hasn't necessarily hurt him thus far, but it's just been a farming lane as far as that 1v1 is middle. They've poked a little bit back and forth. Wicked, we do have to talk about, he's got a 20 CS advantage, and considering how low he was early, it's a good position to be in. Look at the top lane, Snoopy's coming in.
Snoopy is coming in, but also is Maluno. You can see around the side, Deficio's set up a couple of kills already. May throw out.
He's got Crescendo.
Will it be a blind death sentence, or is it going to be a blind face check? And that's going to be Crescendo straight away. No chance there for Deficio.
Yeah, and Crepo and Yellow Pete had actually been sitting in that bush for a good 30 or 40 seconds. They had a pink ward down. They knew that NiP didn't know they were there. They played it patiently. They secured themselves a kill. Well played, EG.
I gotta be honest, there was two ultimates used there. I think that was a little overkill. Shockwave comes through, misses out on Frog, and actually didn't use anything to get away from that, simply sidestepped it.
Yeah, he just stepped out of the range. I think he realized that Bjergsen was going into it. We do see that in the bottom lane. Ignites have been traded by respective top/bottom laners, and they just carry on to trade. And now, with that build with a Cutlass, Wicked's got so much kill potential on
They're going for Dragon. They realize that. They go like, guys, the Shockwave's just been used. Let's head straight down there. There's no major weapon right now. Mimas took a lot of damage in the bottom lane as well from Wicked, so the rest of Evil Geniuses are reacting to this one very well.
They've stacked up well. This is going to be a 5-man Dragon attempt at the 13-minute mark. It's just sitting in the pit casually. Now, crucially, there's no Crescendo available, nor is there a Massacre available for Wicked's Aatrox. So if a fight happens, those are down, but it doesn't look like NiP are going to want to contest.
No, they're not going to be able to get close to this one, and the Dragon is going to go down fast. Remember back to last game, SK Gaming controlled every single Dragon, won out the game. Can Evil Geniuses do the same thing here? They desperately need a win, but then again, so does NiP, and at the moment, it is close between them. Have they given up this top tower, or certainly a lot of damage on towards it? Remember, they are slightly stronger, but we're past the 8-minute mark now, so they're going to be back to normal.
The thing that NiP are going to be looking for right now is to get Vayne to a very powerful position as quickly as possible. He's already got a 30 CS advantage over Yellow Pete, and we talked in the team in Champ Select how the composition of NiP is based around the damage Vayne can deal in team fights with the protection of Orianna and the Omen of Death from Yorick. So the pressure is on Freeze the longer this game goes, because he's doing well now, but he needs to make it stick once the first team fight happens.
He's going to see whether it works out for him. Froggen's going to pick himself up the second blue buff of the game. No contesting coming out from either team, really. Not putting pressure on those blue buffs. Bjergsen, you can see he's got these blue buffers of his own right now. Shockwave is back available, as is Froggen's ultimate, so they're going to be able to dash at one another, and really interested to see how that one's going to work out when they do go for it. There's the Spirit Rush. The flash comes out from Bjergsen. Has to use that defensive ball to try and get away from it. Shockwave was also used. So, as we mentioned, Froggen, once he goes aggressive, he seems to have the advantage over Bjergsen right now. It's all about the ball control.
Froggen is reading Bjergsen like a book right now. Every single time he thinks the shockwave's coming in, he sidestepped the second one. The third one, he spirit rushed forward and landed a charm. He just knew it was coming, and he decided to go, on the offensive. The best defense is a good offense, and Froggen's playing it perfectly.
Playing it very well. Maluno's forced to clean out those minion waves, which means obviously Maluno's gain is actually Bjergsen's loss, which at the moment isn't such a big deal because they are 150 to 152 CS. Very close. Wicked's going for it here on the turret. Can he chunk that turret down quick enough? Yes, he can. Mima realized he's in trouble and he had to back away.
So that's very good play from Wicked. He uses the ultimate, which gives him that additional attack speed and additional attack range, so he can sit a little further back, but mostly just hammering that auto attacks as quickly as possible. With his Blade of the Ruined King already completed and now the ability to roam, we may see EG playing a little bit more of a skirmish game, using the power and the mobility of Zac and Ari to combo the mobility of Aatrox setting up kills.
He's got himself a 33 CS advantage built up, took the turret down, did of course get killed out in that gank from Maluno, but he's built himself a 700 gold advantage now over Mima, and he is heading in towards his top lane along with Snoopy. Freeze goes aggressive, he tries to get the condemn out down towards Crepo, uses that crescendo, slows them down, and in comes the backup support, straight away, they get one down. Maluno tries the Dragon Strike away from this one, Wicked doesn't catch on towards him, forces the flash away, and just like that, NiP thought they got a great gank setup, but EG were already in position.
What a brilliant crescendo from Crepo. He locked up both Jarvan and Thresh in that particular setup. They couldn't do anything. They were delayed getting the Cataclysm down, and it just allowed Yellow P to hammer away on Freeze in the bottom lane. This is going to give EG the second tower of the game and a nice sizable gold lead to work with.
So another one picked up for EG. As you mentioned, it gives them that 2k gold lead. They did pick up the Dragon already as well, which means they can look for another tower, and it seems to be the mid lane. Everybody's rotating down towards here. Bjergsen's already stepping away, uses the shockwave, and Froggen gets a bit of damage down. Froggen has to use his ultimate to try and dash away from it. Took him down to half hit points, but look at this in the jungle. We can see Wicked and Snoopy, they're clearing out the raids.
If the charm lands, they may jump over the wall, but it didn't. Bjergsen was able to get that movement speed from dissonance and just sidestep away. All of a sudden, with the towers down, NiP are defending. Look at that ring of vision in the top half of the jungle. I mean, there's Mima using his ultimate just to try and force the tower as low as possible, but he spent so much time on his side of the river, it's only 50% HP.
And Pete's managed to get himself down there, and now he's actually buying himself some free farm while the rest of Evil Geniuses had stacked in that mid lane. As it stands at the moment, it's Wicked and Crepo defending out this mid lane, keeping the pressure on. And Wicked, he said he was really happy with Aatrox. It's one of the champions that took a few teams a while to get going. 3.10 seems to be certainly one of those favors, and when Wicked finds a champion he enjoys, he generally plays it very well.
The thing that I like about the pick is the Aatrox pick came in after the Zac had already been insta-locked, and the Jarvan had been locked in. So there was the mind game of, right, oh, well, that's Wicked Zac. That was my first thought. I think that was everyone's first thought. And once Jarvan got locked in, he can jump out or into the Cataclysm. We do see that the mid tower is now dropped. That's 3, and he's just going to use Darkflight to get to safety. Wicked is using all of that free attack speed on Massacre to shred towers instantly.
Plowing down another turret. That's 3-0 in turrets right now for Evil Geniuses, winning out the lane phase in strong fashion in terms of taking turrets down, and that's actually going to really put the pressure on NiP.
I would dare say that right now, if Aatrox and Vayne were to have a head-to-head, Wicked and Freeze, I think if Wicked could get a knock-up onto Freeze and avoid being stunned, I reckon he could win the duel. I think with the Massacre ultimate, the attack speed he gets, Blade of the Ruined King damage, plus the lifesteal he gets from his Bloodthirst and Blood Price, I actually think Vayne is not strong enough to beat him yet. We'll have to see if that actually works out, but I do feel like Wicked is in a very, very good position right now.
With that giant belt on him, he's going to start again stacking out the hit points and armor. We'll see whether a Warden's maybe comes out there. Shockwave used on Wicked. He is going to be able to jump straight away from this one. This time, Maluno wasn't able to get that combo going and knock him in the air.
We do see that EG trying to make plays, but realizing now that all the outer towers are down, the next objective is Dragon. You can see it's respawning in about 10 seconds time. NiP are well aware of that, and they're positioning themselves to either contest or actually take it themselves. This is going to be a big fight. Everybody's ultimate is up, and it depends who gets caught.
Well, the shockwave was just used. Of course, that won't be available, which is certainly a key. The key that EG spotted, and the last time they came in to get the Dragon, and already NiP stepping away from this one. The rest of Evil Geniuses move in. It's going to be Snoopy and Wicked probably going to tank this one out. They did put the ping ward down. They haven't leashed out the Dragon yet. The hook on towards Pete. Is it going to be enough? The ball comes in. That's a lot of damage on Pete. That's going to certainly make them think twice.
Yeah, now that's going to be enough to make EG back away completely. If a Crescendo and a Let's Bounce doesn't catch 3 or 4 members, Yellow Pete's going to be able to just get focused and drop down. He's trying to sustain off the Wraith Camp with that Bloodthirster, and I think Deficio, after he landed the hook, maybe should have even gone in.
Well, EG actually trying to take advantage, positional advantage, and put the damage down on towards that turret. Wicked, remember, once he pops that ultimate, the Massacre, he does a hell of a lot of damage. Here comes Froggen, though. Let's Bounce does catch on 2 members.
Crescendo.
Crescendo on towards Freeze. Is it going to be enough? Manages to take the Dark Passage to get away. Maluno goes down, gets on towards Mima. Shockwave pulls in Crepo and Snoopy, but it's not enough. That's going to be Mima going down. And now Mima's Ghost, that's going to get taked out, no problem at all. Evil Geniuses, they're 2 for 0, and they have control, and they're going for Dragon.
NiP were not committed to that attack. They were split up in 2 or 3 different avenues going into the mid lane. They got caught out because they went from different angles, and very, very importantly, once again, Crepo locks up the priority target with Crescendo. Once Freeze was forced low, he needed to run away. Now, when the Dragon's low.
Ooh, that got very close, but there's the smite from Snoopy. Remember, he is 3-0 currently since Shaka joined. Pressure on him to keep that 4-0 win streak going, and when a better time to do it than Super Week when you're up against the pressure, and of course with SK Gaming chasing them down. Have they going to bought themselves a good bit of time for this inner turret? No. Evil Geniuses are there to protect it. Snoopy's going to have to put some damage down on his minions. Wicked keeps them out there. Oh, has to jump away from it, but that middle turret took a hell of a beating. It's going to go down the next wave.
And the one thing that you just got demonstrated in that mid lane is just how good the wave clear is from Evil Geniuses. If you think of the respective AoE line nuke missiles, Caitlyn, Zac, Ari, even Aatrox has got the ability to clear out those conga lining minions. So it makes NiP's sieging power even more difficult, especially when you consider they got a short-range carry like Vayne. So in those tower defense situations, EG had the advantage.
And we talked about it in the opening of the show, how much the junglers have been building ability power. We see Snoopy now getting himself that haunting, guys, along with the Giant's Belt now that she's just stacked out. They're heading towards the top lane, Ninjas in Pyjamas. Wicked is there. There's 4 members at NiP, though, and just Crepo and Wicked in the defensive formation. But look at this, Snoopy and Froggen already close by.
We'll have to see who is going to be the initiating power here. Snoopy can obviously jump in with Let's Bounce, and you see that NiP, their initiating potential is that ball delivery system of Jarvan going in with an Orianna ball, or alternatively, just running at them with a Vayne and a Yorick. And it's very easy to deal with if you're EG. You can jump to safety, you can crescendo them, you can flash away. So it makes NiP's team fight starting power significantly weaker.
There's a big, big gold differential already building up in favor of Evil Geniuses right now. The fact that they are 3-1 up in turrets, the fact they are 5-3 up in kills, really doesn't actually count towards. They are nearly 5,000 gold ahead right now.
They're just doing very well in every metric, you know, as it stands. They're catching every single objective. You can see there's a decent farm lead as far as the top lane is concerned, 40-odd CS, and I think the kills being in their favor also helps out. But at the moment, if NiP get one good pick or one good shockwave onto the likes of Ari and Sona and Caitlyn, it could be a team fight win for them, but it means that the pressure's on NiP to make everything land.
Yeah, and actually looking across the gold, you can see Froggen with 1,000 gold advantage over his mid laner Bjergsen. Yellow Pete's got 1,000 gold advantage over Freeze. These are the carriers. These are the important ones. Wicked also effectively a carry in this game, I feel, a 1,000 gold advantage over Mima. Big differences here, but look at Froggen setting up, ready and waiting to pose on Freeze. If Freeze goes in towards these golems, he's going to go for it, but Maluno's there to try and help out. Charm does manage to land. Deathfire Grasp thrown out, but it wasn't enough. Freeze had to tumble away, and Maluno's presence forced him off.
Yeah, Maluno single-handedly saved Freeze's life. If the rest of those Spirit Rushes had been used, that would have been a dead Freeze with additional damage from the DFG. So well played by Maluno, or at least maybe lucky being in the right area at the right time. And as it stands, NiP, they have to find a window. NiP have to find an objective to fight over and take, because they're simply falling further and further behind against a team that already has, you know, a positional and a compositional advantage over you. The mid tower is the focus.
NiP making good use of their advantages here because they know that Froggen is way off in that top lane, but they're going to be Snoopy. Let's Bounce comes in. They're coming diving in across the side there. Cataclysm not going to lock up Wicked, and he's already putting a hell of a lot of damage down. Great shockwave, but the Crescendo catches on towards Pyjamas, and Pyjamas goes down. Krepo gets caught out. Freeze picks up the kill there. It's a 1-for-1 right now. Evil Genius is still very low, but Yellow Pete and Froggen now chasing in this fight. Froggen does not have his ultimate available though, so he can't chase them down.
It took Evil Geniuses too long to get to the damage and the backline of NiP. You've seen that Bjergsen was the only victim of that fight. Omen of Death wasn't even used, and Freeze basically went untouched. So what EG needs to do to win those team fights more convincingly is focus down the AD carry. They did, however, trade a support from mid laner, so at the end of the day, it is still a victorious fight for EG as they take the blue buff as well.
It was a support from mid laner, but Froggen wasn't there, so they didn't really have anyone to chase in there. Nevertheless, they picked up the blue buff as well, and EG seeming to be in control here, but NiP, you can't count them out. That was good positional advantage play from them. They realized that they had their mid laner missing, and they tried to put the pressure on towards that inner turret. And actually, since EG have took down those 3 outer turrets, they really haven't put any pressure on any inner turrets so far.
It's too risky to go that deep. They don't have enough items, or they're not that far ahead to go onto the, you know, the second lane of towers with complete impedance of being attacked and being jumped on by the members of NiP. So I think it's tactical play. I think it's intelligent play from EG. And look, they're extending their lead. I mean, they were, what, 3,000 gold up about 10 minutes ago. That is now extended to just shy of 5,000 gold. So if they continue this upward trend, they'll just build that big buffer of items and put themselves in a very good position.
Pete is a long way away from this one, and the moment NiP realizing it again. He's in the top lane, continuing to get some free farm going. NiP are gathered in this mid lane to try and put pressure once again on the inner turret. They're going to jump in. Cataclysm comes in there.
Shockwave.
And the Shockwave ball delivery system. Krepo's going to go down. Had an Oracle on him. It's not going to matter too much, but it is going to force them away. And NiP managed to get themselves another small victory on the map.
So it's a 35-second time until Dragon. NiP should roughly know when that is, but it is only 25 seconds till Krepo's up, so they may be able to force a 5v4 Dragon engagement, which is why they're hanging around this mid lane. The question is, do NiP have the timer on this one? It does look like it at the moment.
Remember, Krepo did not use Crescendo. They didn't get a chance to. Because the Shockwave and Cataclysm were down, and I think they're going to be up in time. They're going to, yeah, you can see all of NiP actually backing off. They know the Dragon will be available, like you said, but look at EG. They're thinking, well, fine, you know you're going to try and delay us for this one. We're going to put pressure on your mid turret.
So we'll have to see how well EG can, you know, focus it down. The last time this worked in their favor because NiP had a very sloppy engage after the Dragon attempt, if we can call it that. And you can see NiP, they're more tightly knit. They're grouped up. They realize the mistakes of the previous fight, and they're staying stacked as a 5-man unit.
And Wicked with that Rannian's Omen now, he's going to be a real pressure presence on Freeze. He's going to be diving for him. You can be sure of that. He's actually putting a lot of damage out as well. You talked about it earlier on and how close he'd be in a duel with Freeze. And as it is, Evil Geniuses, they're going to get on this Dragon. We may see a dive in from Maluno. Has got Smite available. No, he's going to get locked up on Charm. Actually, they could have taken the Dragon. Instead, they're going to try and take for the kills. Look at that diving in. That's going to be Wicked picking up 1. Picks up 2. Great shockwave coming out from Bjergsen. That gets down on Krepo, though. But here comes just around the side. He will manage to get to a second one. Freeze in all sorts of trouble. He gets caught out with a built over Peacemaker. That's a 4-for-1. And honestly, Maluno got away with a slither of health as well.
Evil Geniuses have decided the tower may be more important. They have a lot of damage. They may even try Baron. This will take a little while. And remember, Baron has been changed in 3.10. So whoever's affected by that Baron corrosive goo is going to have the damage reduced by 50%. A very good team fight in the river. Mima used his Omen of Death on Bjergsen. If he'd used that on Vayne, I wondered to myself if it could have worked.
Look at the lifesteal on Wicked. He's just chomping his way through this. Oh, he didn't want to tank it, though.
Bloodwell.
And that's his passive used already. He just actually caught the aggro, and you said this is going to be a dangerous Baron. It is a very dangerous Baron. Maluno might be thinking, looking at this for juicy targets. He could slide through in Cataclysm and put a hell of a lot of damage down. He's going to go for it. He could try and get the smite in. It gets charmed up.
Flashed out.
Can he manage to flash out? He could have Cataclysm back, but EG pick up themselves up a Baron.
I don't understand Maluno's thinking there. Cataclysm was available. He had smite available as well. If you're giving Baron up, at the very least, throw your life at it. Try Cataclysm, lock them in, buy time for Baron to hit them. I'm not quite sure I agree with that decision-making. At the end of the day, Evil Geniuses secure Baron Nashor for themselves and a 9,500 gold lead.
NiP going to try and take advantage of the fact that EG all had to back off. They're going to get themselves this inner turret. Crepo can't do anything about that one, that's for sure. So a small little tactical advantage, but Baron was lost. It's 3-2 in turrets right now. The gold advantage heavily in favor of Evil Geniuses after winning out the lane phase.
The pressure is now on for NiP to find a pick multiple times. They need to be able to insta-gib somebody from EG before a fight happens in order to win the fight. And when you've got two opponents champions with a built-in GA, you know, the Zac passive and the Aatrox passive, that becomes infinitely more difficult because you can't focus them or target them down as your first priority.
So the pressure very much on Ninjas in Pyjamas right now. The teams would effectively trade places. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. We talked about it at the start because EG is still going to be 3-1 down even if they win in this matchup between them. But there's Wicked chunking down another turret with the rest of his team. With that Baron on now, there's nothing really stopping them, just continuing to push on through.
So we're going to catch just Siege. I mean, the minion waves are slowly in their favor. It is still fairly, you know, mid-game-ish. You can see Last Whisper complete as well as Bloodthirster. Yellow Pete's got a lot of auto-attack damage done, but no attack speed increase. So take a little bit longer to get these towers down. If Aatrox can get up there, that'll go quicker. And Froggen's jumped in.
Froggen tried to get in there, tried to manage to cast the charm. Didn't happen, which means they were all forced to back away. They're going to steal away the blue buff third, take that away from Bjergsen. That's going to slow him down. The Dragon's going to be up as well, so they're going to jump in for that one. They're going to take away every little bit of resource they can from Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Yeah, that Dragon's been standing since the previous fight that happened. And the NiP think they may be able to get onto a tower.
Ooh,
so we'll see how quickly do EG respond. Who has started to recall? It looks like Wicked right now, and EG may jump in from behind.
They're not recalling, now they are. They're actually going to back off. But I'll tell you what, NiP may have stolen themselves a march here. They're going to get on towards this inhibitor turret. Have they got enough damage? Wicked and Snoopy are going to come from behind. They've got half the damage down on this inhibitor turret already. Now they're backing off. Great play from NiP. Is it going to be enough for Wicked? They're going to try and close them down. Snoopy's coming across the side. The rest of the team are not in position. Great little play from NiP, but the chase is back on. EG are doing roles reverse. They're now running up the mid.
Look at the top lane as well. There's a massive wave of minions on that tower. If I were NiP, I think they may have been better off just recalling at the blue buff and getting into position quicker. We don't see any home guards on the side of NiP just yet. Instead, they've picked a fight. They want to play.
They've split up. This is dangerous play because Evil Geniuses have got the Baron on. Snoopy gets in. Let's Bounce comes in. Maluno gets locked up. He gets dropped. Froggen picks up the kill there. Crescendo comes across, catches 3 members. Shockwave on towards 1, but look at Froggen. He's cleaning house. Gets himself a triple. Gets himself a quadra. And absolutely massacres NiP. That's an ace, and that was a clean fight. Why would you fight open territory Baron team?
The 10, the massive death timers are in favor of Evil Geniuses, and with the attack damage of Wicked's Aatrox, they may even be able to finish this one up. Inhibitor is down. 15 seconds are on the clock. They're on the Nexus turrets, and EG may have tied themselves up with score with Ninjas in Pyjamas in the first game of Super Week.
Crazy play. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it backfires horrible. And Evil Geniuses get themselves the first victory of the Super Week in impressive style against Ninjas in Pyjamas. It was a strong performance, and I think straight away we're going to see a ban on Aatrox for Wicked.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1-0-13 Snoopy. He is currently 4-0 since Tenerife. He's picked 4 games, he's won all of them. And if you look at the other carries,
look at that.
Froggen, 0 deaths. Yellow Pete, 0 deaths in a 33-minute game.
Crepo involved in every single kill of the game. 1-5-14, only 15 kills in the entire game. You also look at Snoopy, 1-0-13. He was close to just 1 away. And Pete, 4-0-10. How much abuse has Pete taken over the spring-summer split? 4-0-10. Fantastic performance from Evil Geniuses.
So there's 2 things I want to point out. Number 1, we questioned the Sona pick. We're like, well, we haven't seen Crepo on Sona. His crescendos were perfect. I cannot fault a single crescendo that he used that entire game, bar for the fact he missed freeze once. But that's me being a scumbag. Secondly, we are on patch 3.10. 3.10 has a slower early game. Evil Geniuses matched up the lanes. They did lane swaps. We talked about how Aatrox wanted to go versus Yorick. Hey, who would have guessed? EG get a couple minutes to farm up. They managed to make it to the mid game a little stronger. And all of a sudden, that's the EG we're used to seeing. That's the EG we were used to watching in the spring split. If the towers are down, they flounder. If the towers are up and they farm, They're fantastic.
So it's 3.10 built for Evil Geniuses. Well, what an impressive performance. So the old guard have proved successful already. SK Gaming, they made it to the World Finals. Evil Geniuses made it to the World Finals last year, and both have put in some impressive performances. When the experience counts and the pressure's on, it seems that they have risen to the challenge so far here in Super Week. There's still 18 games to go, though, and 6 more to go today.
I want to quickly just re-highlight the fact that even though EG won that, right, it puts them tied with NiP at 12 wins, 12 losses. That's a 50% win-loss ratio. But because they've lost 3 times prior, they are still behind NiP. So I don't want to say it's a hollow victory because that's overly harsh, but it's still, as far as standings are concerned, not as impactful as maybe some of the other matches today and tomorrow are going to be.
As far as standings are concerned, they'd play each other in the playoffs as well, which is also
even
an
more
interesting
dramatic
one. So many stories here, ladies and gentlemen. We are, of course, going to go across to our analysis desk, though. Joe and Jason standing by to take us through Evil Genius's demolition of NiP.
Thanks a lot, guys. And I think demolition is a pretty good word there that Demons used to sum that one up. It wasn't by any means... I don't want to say it wasn't one-sided because it was, but if you looked at the scoreline and how some of those things went down, it wasn't so well done in that way. But completely controlled from Evil Geniuses. It was perfect control all the way through.
Yeah, and we were watching the game together. We were wondering, why wasn't Vayne banned? Why did they let Freeze get Vayne? Because it's been a consistent ban these past couple of weeks, but you saw how they kind of countered it. You saw them get the first one in that top lane. You saw him start to snowball a little bit with a nice CS lead, but then Snoopy's like, all right, bot lane's all right, bot lane's ahead, mid lane's even, I'm going to camp this top lane. He ganked that lane like 3 or 4 times, and because of that, he got Yellow Pete so far ahead that they just kind of used that throughout the game. Not to mention the roaming. You saw Wicked actually just brute force that bottom turret down, then he went to top lane, they pretty much pushed that lane down, then they kind of went for Dragon after. They're like, all right, get all this free gold, and from that, they just kind of became too strong for NiP to deal with.
And we should talk about Wicked a little bit as well, because he brought the Aatrox to the table. First time we've seen him play, he's played about 80 games, I think, in solo, basically just spammed it out over the course of the last couple of weeks to get to that level. What do you think to his Aatrox today?
Did pretty well. I mean, you could see just how the beginning, when he was playing against Mimer, where he was very hesitant to go in. I mean, Yorick is a pretty good counter to Aatrox just because you can stay healed the entire time, you can harass quite well. But he did pretty well. Like, he had a nice CS lead. He was a huge threat in those team fights because he built that Blade of the Rune King and then just straight tank after. Honestly, it was very well done. I mean, we talk about him as having a very kind of small champion pool, but he's done really well this split and just kind of expanding that.
Yeah, and we have to point out Yellow Pete as well. Again, I mean, a flawless game from him. He almost died right at the start when that first blood came down for NiP. He had, I don't know how much health, 5% of his health maybe left in there, and it looked to be going a little bit pear-shaped for them, that duo lane. But as you said, Snoopy spent a lot of time in there, and Yellow Pete again coming up big for EG.
Yeah, and actually, his Caitlyn, I think it was last week, he was very strong on Caitlyn. He actually wasn't killed in that game either. He just, I don't know, it seems to be like the champion he's kind of found. We heard over in North America at LCS yesterday why people aren't playing certain champions anymore. Like, Cop was asked, why aren't you playing Misfortune anymore, since that was all you spam last season? And it's like he hasn't found that champion this season there wasn't one champion this season, I'll say, that kind of was his favorite, was like the strongest in his opinion. And you see right there, Yellow Pete on Caitlyn again. I wonder if that's going to be his go-to pick now.
Well, I wanted to touch on Snoopy as well. He's obviously 4-0 now since Shaka's come into the team in the games that he's played. But I'm not going to do that because we're going to head over to Shox, who's got Snoopy with her for an interview.
Thanks very much, Joe. Welcome back to our interview lounge. Snoopy, congratulations on that win. What an important victory. And being down 0-3 against NiP going into this one must have added some more extra pressure. So how did you prepare against this team specifically?
I wouldn't specifically say I thought about the 0-3 too much. It's more like playoffs are next week. Like, we need to win every game we can. And losing one game last week against SK was really a downer for us. We wanted to go 3-0 coming into playoffs and secure our spot for the playoffs. And that's what the biggest thing in our mind right now is, making sure we get to playoffs. We need to finish top 6. Top 2 is a bit of a high reach, but we need to finish top 6 and make sure we get to playoffs.
Right, so you started off well with that plan. So what was the plan coming into this game? We saw the Zac. We thought it might go over to Wicked, but he went for his Aatrox that he's been practicing a lot in solo queue, of course. So how comfortable did you feel on that Zac pick, going in and just making the plays?
I felt really comfortable in playing Zac. It was actually one of my main champions playing solo queue the last couple of weeks. Like, I was playing a lot of solo queue recently and just getting my mechanics down on a couple of key champions, and Zac was one of them. So I felt very comfortable. It also adds a bit of versatility, like Wicked can play that champion and I can play it, so it's a bit of a strategic thing as well, like in champion select, so adds a bit more dynamic to our team.
And then on the other side, we had a Yorick and a Vayne. Vayne can be very destructive, and if there's two of Vaynes, it's going to be extremely destructive. And she got an early kill. So what was it from then on? Was it damage control on the Vayne, or?
I was so worried. Once I seen the first kill on the Vayne, and then consequently the second kill right after that, I was a bit worried for the game and how it was going to snowball. So basically, Wicked won his lane really, really hard bottom, and we managed to get an early tower there. And Yorick started to freeze bottom, and we could then send the Aatrox top. And just as we did that, they went for a kill on our top lane, and that led us to get the kill in the Vayne, plus we got a tower. And the game kind of snowballed from there. It was really, really good play by us.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Now, you're in the starting lineup. What are the thoughts behind that? Is it because you got so much experience, of course, behind you that you opted to go in the starting lineup, or is it the specific matchups, or...?
It was purely, the reason I wasn't in the starting lineup initially was because I wanted to just practice. I needed my mechanics to get down, and I've been playing a lot of solo queue recently, like 10 hours a day of solo queue at least, and then plus team practice on top of that. And that's consequently led to my mechanics getting a lot better, and my champion pool as well has improved a lot. So I'm comfortable playing on the starting roster now, and it looks like I'll probably do that for the foreseeable future.
All right, and finally, of course, 1 down, 4 games to go. So what is the general mindset? Your next game is going to be against NYM, but I guess you're looking ahead to all of the other games.
5-0. That's like the only thing we can really do this week. We need to secure our spot in the playoffs, and 5-0 is the only way we can do it. Well, not the only way we can do it, but it's going to guarantee that we're there. So that's what I want to do.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, NiP. Congratulations, EG, grasping a much-needed win here with their eye on Gamescom. As for us, we need to take a break, but stay with us.